just got one Time 33 tree permit right-of-way public land issue. I'm going to, before I get that far, I'm going to bring up that as a shared, bring up the agenda as a, and share that on the screen. I've been invited by the city engineers to walk the West Union Street project, and that I'm going to do on September 22nd. It's a Tuesday at 9 o'clock. If other tree commission members want to come along, I'd like to know ahead of time, because if we get more than three, well, if we get three of us, more than two, we'll have to advertise it as a meeting and keep minutes and so on.
I'm sorry, David, to interrupt, but I just now was able to hear what you were saying. Could you give me a brief?
I've only just started by mentioning that I've been invited to walk the West Union Street project with the city engineer and Anne Bonner on September 22nd at 9 o'clock in the morning.
And the purpose is what?
Well, the West Union Street project is a major street renovation project, and the city has posted I think they have posted the documents of this on their website, and obviously there are a large number of trees along the West Union Street from I think we start round about Larry's Doghouse and come all the way along to I think it's the West Union Street Cemetery. It may be a little bit further than that, but the objective is just to see what opportunities there are for planting trees, and also to see what trees they're going to have to take special precautions to try and save. Currently in the documents...
Is this the same project that we went to see about before?
I think
know. David went, and I went, and you may have went to. They had drawings of the plan, and remember I told you I went, and they said that all the trees were going to be saved.
I have a memory of that, but I'm not sure it's exactly the same thing. But I think this one also involves some work on Herald Street as well.
Yes, that was the same one.
Yeah,
Herald Street.
Yeah. So yes, it's probably the same project.
Okay.
So as I say, if anyone else wants to walk that, let me know at least 24 hours before, so we can post it as a potential public meeting of the Tree Commission. But at the moment, it's just going to be Anne, myself, and Jessica Aldine, who's the city engineer overseeing the project.
David, I'd like to do that, but I'm going to be out of town until the next day. So
okay, sorry.
I'm leaving on Friday, so I won't be able to. But
yeah.
But I'd like to go, David. Nancy, that is.
Yes. Okay. So we'll be starting from Larry's Doghouse at 9 o'clock in the morning.
The doghouse, did you say?
Yeah. The hot dog place.
That's fun.
I think that's the most westerly part of the project, and then we will walk east along West Union Street.
Mm-hmm.
That west, the Larry's Doghouse is a potential problem I hope they can solve, or is a problem I hope they can solve, because that traffic lines up right onto the street, in both directions, trying to get into there to go through the drive-through.
Yeah, they could have one of those turn lanes there, maybe. This is the 22nd, did you say?
Yes.
9 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay.
John, they are speccing a turn lane at that intersection of Herald and West Union.
That's good. They're also Pete, I think they're adding bike lanes there too, aren't they? Isn't that the plan? I haven't looked at the plans, but
correct. Yeah, I know that there is some bike infrastructure that is going to go in, and then roundabouts at Schaefer and West Union, and then there's an additional project where they just started to look at doing a roundabout at West Union and 680. That's 682, right there. That goes out to the plains.
okay.
And then there is also the other reason for the turn lane at Harold Avenue is they want to connect Harold over to West State Street to reduce some of the traffic that goes up to Schaefer and across.
Did you go to the meeting, Peter? When they showed the different plans that they had?
I did. Let's see. That was the one that was up at University Estates. Yes, I did. It was quite a while ago. I don't know if there was one that was more recent. I haven't attended that, but I did see.
There was this one. The one I went to wasn't at University Estates. It was in the Voinovich Center, I think.
Okay.
David Simcott was there. Do you remember David? David?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't remember that one. Where was this?
I think it was at the Voinovich Center. And they had there were 4 or 5 tables, and each one had a different part of the plan. For the
I don't remember. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. I just thought I saw you.
Oh, go ahead.
That's all.
I know currently. I think they have stage either is stage 2 plans. So they base the majority of the design has been decided at this point.
Yeah, the big come away for me was that they had each of the people stressed how much emphasis they had put on saving all the trees that were in the area of the construction, including going on over to Harold, including going down Harold over to the state.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm happy to hear that engineering is engaging with the Shade Tree Commission at this point. I think it's good for them to get this input because this is not their expertise.
Peter, could I ask where the funding for all these roundabouts and the construction is coming from?
It's a lot of grant money. A lot of ODOT grant money is the majority of it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Will become the city of turnaround or roundabouts.
Are there other comments or questions?
Mm-hmm.
As I said, if anyone else other than Nancy wants to come along to this walk on the 22nd, let me know well ahead of time because it would mean that we'd have to advertise it as a meeting. But that's okay.
How far ahead do you have to advertise it?
At least 24 hours.
Okay.
So in this case, because it would be Tuesday, I'd have to know by the Friday before that other people wanted to come. Okay, moving on to Title 37. I understand the revisions are in the hands of the Law Director at the moment for her comments. If you've got comments, please send them to me. You can copy them to Peter and to Chris, that's fine. I will try and put them all into one document eventually. And once we know the status of the document, assuming the Law Director doesn't go making major revisions to it, or asking for major revisions, and it moves on to a first reading at Council, I'll try and make sure that Peter and Chris get your comments in time for that first reading. As far as I can tell, Menards is open. Certainly looks like they're doing business. I've not heard of anyone receiving any plans or what the status of that project is. So I will be in contact with David Riggs to find out what he knows. But I don't have any additional information at the moment.
Is that ahead of what they had originally said, or is that pretty much when they had planned to open?
Well,
do you remember?
They're well behind their original dates.
Okay.
I think they were planning originally to be open in the spring or summer this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a lot of trouble. I think they had a lot of trouble getting product, because of the COVID, and they struggled getting product to be able to. So they didn't open as early as they would have liked, in part because of that. There may have been some construction delays too.
Okay. I don't have anything under the maintenance of the tree canopy, although the next item.
I had something. David,
yes,
I had something about the tree canopy I wanted to ask.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I've been walking through my neighborhood, looking at different places that are empty of trees, and it occurred to me that this probably was not the best way to go about it. And I was thinking that maybe we could devote a few minutes of each meeting for the next couple of months to coming up with a plan for how we want to try and increase the canopy of trees. What do you think about that?
Yes, but I think it needs some preparation by somebody, maybe you, to.
We can have Ann come over and talk to us about what she suggests.
Well, are you thinking of particular sites that you want to plant trees at, or are you thinking of a campaign to try and raise funds for trees?
I mean, my walking around my neighborhood and finding places that need trees is probably not the best way to go about it, unless we have somebody in other neighborhoods going around looking at their needs for trees.
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe there's a way that we go about this in a more systematic way.
Well, I think what it might be best to do is for you to talk directly to Anne and see what she thinks are the possibilities. Historically, what we've done is we have done just that. We've driven or walked around communities and given the city potential planting sites. But we clearly have way more planting sites than we have funds available for trees.
Well, I've never figured out, and maybe that's my fault, of how this all works, because it doesn't seem like we ever have devoted any time during these meetings to talking about the planting of trees. It just sort of happened. I think Ron was probably involved in part of that. I know you've talked about budget, and I don't even know if we know how much money is devoted to buying trees. But it seems like that's one of the things that we could contribute to the community is some educated recommendations about how to use the money that we have, or how to get more money. And increase the benefits of trees in our community.
Well, yes, I'm sort of struggling because I'm not sure exactly where you want to take this in terms of a planning document or a planning approach.
Well, I was thinking if we just took, made it part of the tree canopy agenda each month, and we could begin with different people's ideas. If everybody had thought about it over the next month, everybody could give their idea of what they think might be a possible way to start planning, to start a plan. I mean, it's the beginning.
So your suggestion then is just simply to put an item under the maintenance of tree canopy, planning for planting of trees. Maybe is that what you're thinking of?
How to get them and what kind, and and where they would go, and how would we go about deciding where they would go?
Yeah, I don't need a whole detail. I just want a title. That's all.
Yeah, okay.
That's why just a placeholder that I can stick in there. Certainly, yeah, we can discuss it.
I know typically this is a conversation that we would have this time of year, and Ron Lucas usually pointed us in the direction of how many trees we had to plant, and we always had sites that we had been told about or gathered that needed trees. So I feel like this is something we've been doing.
Somehow I don't remember any of that. I don't remember our ever being involved in identifying sites for trees.
Yeah, David would make suggestions, other people would make suggestions, and about where trees have been taken down, and but it was not a coordinated part of a bigger scheme. But last week, David, did you hear the man talk about iTree? There was a lot of talk about iTree.
Yeah.
The program. It might be good for someone of us or someone to investigate iTree and see if that would be helpful to us.
Okay. It's certainly a potential suggestion.
Are you still there?
Yes. Yeah, we're still here.
So Lee, you're suggesting what now?
That we look at that program that was often mentioned last week at the tree conference called iTree, little I dash capital TREE.
Yes, that's true. There were resources available. Yes.
It had an amazing number of helpful parts to that. So it might be good for 2 or 3 of us to review that and see if it would be something that would be helpful to us in this quest.
That's a good idea.
I'll volunteer to research about iTree.
Oh, excellent, David. Thank you.
Yeah, we've heard it before in other presentations for the last couple of years.
There it is.
Oh, thank you. Great.
www.itreetools.org. So if you just type into Google I-tree, then this is the first thing that actually pops up. And so, yes, David, please have a look at it and see what you think. I'll see if I can get some time and have a look at it as well.
Good.
Yeah. But,
so we're going to establish an ongoing agenda item about tree location identification.
Improving the tree canopy, increasing the tree canopy.
Right.
Okay.
So,
and is there homework or something? I mean, what it'll be on the agenda? What's going to happen when we get to the next meeting when it's on the agenda and that item comes up?
Well, if you could, over the next month, think about it yourself, what you think might be a way to approach this. We don't have any approach yet. We don't have a strategy. And it's possible that the iTree resource that Lee mentioned may help us too. So if you want to take a look at that as well with David and David, that's another possibility. Or your own thoughts about what you think might work as a terms of a plan for increasing trees in our community.
Well, along the lines of increasing the tree canopy, last month Nancy mentioned that the Athens Metropolitan Housing Authority planted a number of trees in her neighborhood around their property, and I promised that I would send them a note of appreciation from the Tree Commission, and I did it. So
thank you.
And I will be happy to, or I will I feel it's a contribution I can make to the tree commission. If anybody else sees things or just people planting trees in their front lawn or whatever, I will be glad to send them a note from the tree commission on behalf of the tree commission. So
thank you, Lee. That's an excellent service.
I've got a couple couple more.
Oh, good. Okay.
I'll talk to you about it later.
All right.
So, the one item I have got under other business is that I found the scanned copy I'd got of the 1991 tree inventory. And what I'm going to try and do is see if the city can post this on the website for us. That seems to be the easiest way to make it available to people. It's a rather large PDF. It's in two pieces, and it's about 20 megabytes, 300 pages in total. I think one document's 160 pages and the other one's nearly 140 pages. One of the documents is just a great big long list of all the trees that they found. And then the other discusses the state of the trees and the state of the plantings in the city. And in the discussion at our last meeting, somebody mentioned that there was this tree inventory. So I dug around and I found my copy of it. And,
so where would it come from?
This was the one that we mentioned. It was mentioned at the last meeting. The city had paid a consultant to produce a tree inventory. This was in the early 90s, 1991, I believe. And this was the final report of that tree inventory.
I'm sorry, I've lost. I seem to have lost the sound. I don't know.
So, David, do you know what year the tree commission began?
I believe it was 1990.
Because I think Ann Holden was involved in getting that tree survey off the ground.
Yep, if I can find it, I'll show you the cover of it, because I think her name is actually on the cover of this copy that I have. Yes, there it is. Okay, so let me just post this up on the screen. There you are. Street tree inventory report and management plan. Ann Holden was I think this must have been her copy that I think Alvy McWilliams had, and then I managed to generate a scanned copy of. It was the company was ACRT that prepared the document, and there's a lot of discussion about the methodology and then the inventory itself, various needs and so on. So it's a very detailed report, and it may well be time for the city to think about perhaps revisiting this. I know people have made sort of small attempts at doing this, but I believe in the 1990s this cost something on the order of $20,000 to produce. So I don't know what the city coffers are like at the moment, but I suspect even $20,000 might be a challenge to get for another consultant to do a report like this.
I wonder if there's any grant money from the state or ODNR, or maybe Ann could help us with possibility for that.
Or how about the Menards, the money they're going to give us for the trees they aren't planting? That should be a sizable chunk of money.
There you go. Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah. So Sarah Hendricker was the mayor at the time. And John Soule was the chair of the Tree Commission. I think he was the first chair of the Tree Commission. So, an historic document, certainly. Okay, so that'll get posted. And the final thing we've got on our agenda, unless there's something else people want to raise, is the minutes of the last meeting, which I'm struggling to find at the moment in amongst all the things I've got on my desk. That's interesting. It's disappeared. Oh, I've got it, so why can't I see it there? Let me close some of the other windows I've got open.
David, looking
Yes.
through I'm not sure it's a narrative, but looking through the Title 37 language, at one point they have habitat where it should be habit. And it's, most people could figure it out from the context, but it might be a good idea to for that to be corrected.
Okay. Is that in the minutes? I'm sorry, I was struggling to find it.
Sorry, no, it's not in the minutes. It's in the attachment about Title 37.
Oh, okay.
Revision.
Title 37 revisions. We'll see if I can spot that. Okay, so unless there's anything else people want to discuss, these are the minutes of our last meeting, and we need to just review them and hopefully approve them. And I would remind you that the ODNL webinar series is still going on. I attended the first one; it was a very good one. I missed the one this week, unfortunately. Hopefully I can get to see the recording of it when it comes out. I believe you can still register for some of these as they're going through.
Yeah, there did seem to be space in spite of the warning there. There seemed to be space there.
Yeah.
But the warning is you really need to install Adobe Connect,
Yes.
with which there are a number of technical problems. But
Yeah.
David, I've looked over the minutes and I would approve those.
Thank you, David.
I will second that.
Thank you, Lee. Any further discussion on the minutes? Any objections to approving the minutes? Hearing none, we have minutes of our last meeting. Our next meeting will be on October the 8th. And I would remind you that we've added a recurring item to our agenda. I've just listed it under planning for the future, under the tree canopy, maintenance of tree canopy. But your ideas about how we might begin planning for future tree plantings would be useful. I will give Andrew Cheeky a prod about what we're doing for fall planting, because we certainly should be moving on that now. I'll contact David Riggs about the status of Menards. And if there's nothing else, I think we will adjourn for this meeting. Thank you and good night.